We are located on the Damariscotta River in Midcoast, Maine. Right now we are on our raft, which is our home for all of our operations with Blackstone Point Oysters, and it's a beautiful day out here. Blackstone Point Oysters was started in 2016 by Brendan Parsons, who is still the owner. We started pretty small and are quickly picking up speed and growing as a farm. What started as a small lease has turned into a nursery, a bottom culture lease, a top culture lease, storage, and lots of different places for us to do intertidal harvesting. Oysters are an incredible creature. They are so good at filtering water and can filter anywhere from 60 to 80 gallons a day, which is really, really great for the ecosystem and the environment. So oyster farming is actually a really clean, sustainable industry. We're trying to get away from plastic-based gear, but in the meantime, the oysters and their benefit to the ecosystem is just immeasurable. Oyster farming is a really, really fun industry, and specifically on the Damariscotta River and throughout Maine, it is a fantastic community. You get to know so many people, and whether they're oyster farmers or just people coming to have a great time and see more of Maine, we have conversations almost daily with people on their kayaks or wanting to go for a ride. There's a really, really strong community aspect to oyster farming in Maine. Another thing I want to mention, oyster farming specifically, it's really interesting as a producer to be able to play with the tastes and the flavors of the oyster by changing their environment. We can take an oyster and move it into a different environment and it will have a different taste, usually a different appearance even if you give it long enough. And so that's something that as oyster farmers we can be really creative in figuring out exactly how to achieve different taste profiles in our oysters, and it definitely doesn't hurt that they're pretty good for you too. Oysters are a really healthy snack and definitely something that we'd love for you to enjoy. I enjoy oyster farming for the seasonality of it. I really like how in tune as an oyster farmer you have to be with the environment. I mean, you have to know when the tides are going to be, and knowing when the fishing boat that you see is for pogies, or if it's for a different type of fish, because the seasonality of that fish and of lobstering and all of these other industries, you can see them come and go. Even just the changes in the environment from spring to fall to winter time and throughout the summer, it is so dynamic. It is really cool to know that what you're doing is in harmony with the environment and the ecosystem, and that's something that means a lot to me. Maine's oyster industry is in its own right pretty historic. Originally, Native American peoples were eating oysters pretty prolifically. What we can find now as evidence is shell middens throughout the Damariscotta River, where Native peoples would eat oysters and then toss their shells into these big heaps, and we can find evidence of those in the Damariscotta now. I think that really just kind of nods to the historical aspect of eating oysters from this area, but especially oyster farming in particular. Started mostly in the Damariscotta River. I'm sure other people probably dabbled in it, but now 60 to 70% of all of the oysters in Maine come out of the Damariscotta River. Some of the best ways to engage with oysters in Damariscotta or surrounding areas is going on oyster tours. There's a lot of different tours that you can do. There's one through schooners that takes a tour of oyster farms on the Damariscotta River. Of course, if you want to try an oyster, I would encourage you to go to the Shuck Station. They are our sister restaurant, and so they have a lot of our oysters and many of the other oysters on the river that you can try, sample, see the differences, see which one you like and don't like. Of course, there are other options like the Maine Oyster Trail, and this is really great because you get to try oysters from different parts of the state, and you can really see the difference in the oysters if you go to one place that serves oysters out of the New Meadows versus the Damariscotta. Thanks for visiting our raft, and we'd love for you to try a Blackstone Point oyster.